This is Tom Biernacki. And can you drive while wearing a cast? Can you drive while wearing a walking boot? We're gonna go over all the pros, all the cons, and can you do it? And we're starting now. Whether or not you can drive with a cast depends on several factors. There's a lot of celebrities that actually got in a lot of trouble. So like, for example, a famous golfer recently, over the last few years, got into a big accident after a procedure. He was taking some medication. So he had a life-altering accident. There's also a famous NFL team owner, I won't mention the specific name, but after a procedure, he took his pain medication and the police found him passed out and he got a DUI taking the medication and he was impaired in driving. So this is certainly possible. I also had an older 95-year-old lady who was wearing a cast once. She was driving down the road and apparently she says she was doing great for a long time, but she got into an accident right in front of a cop car in a church parking lot. Luckily, he let her go because he felt bad for a 95-year-old. She probably doesn't have much time to spend in jail. So one factor to consider is the location of the cast. If it's on your right or left foot, it might make it difficult, especially if you're driving a stick shift, especially your left leg. If you have something on your left leg, you can probably physically drive and control the car if it's only pushing with your right foot. Upper limb casts, for example, if it's on your arm, you might not be able to grip, you might be in pain, you might have a spasm in your arm while driving. So these are all things you have to be careful of. So they actually did a study where a driving instructor was wearing casts on each arm, each leg, and in all cases, the driver was failed. This was an occupational therapist driving the car. They only passed with small casts on their wrists. So physically, it's very difficult to drive with a cast. You probably would fail a driving test. So the recommendation from a physical standpoint, based on this study, is not to recommend driving. For lower leg casts as well, like your ankle or your foot, it's usually forbidden to drive because you can't push on the pedals. It's tough. The pedal, you could hit both the brake and the gas pedal at the same time. They did do a study on orthopedic surgery and driving. There's no strong conclusions, but it generally said to be safe. And it depends on when your surgeon really thinks that you're fine and you think you're fine. There's also the size and restrictiveness. Obviously, the bigger it is, the harder it is. And then you have pain and medication. So again, in that study, if you have a spasm, if you're sore, if you're on pain medication, those are all illegal. And not only that, but if you ever got into an accident, how would you look? So from a medical standpoint, they did do studies. It's very difficult to pass a driving test. So for that reason, insurances can look at it and deny any claims. And then safety and legality. There have been numerous studies on the legality, and generally the cast for both arms and legs is significantly impaired, and they use that for legal considerations. So in some regions, there are specific laws that you definitely cannot drive, but at the very least, if you caused an accident, you have to think about two factors. The police could use their best judgment and say you were impaired. And number two, the insurance implications. Even if it were legal in your area, driving with a cast probably is against the policies of your insurance company. I know any of my insurances, it's like 30 pages. You can't do anything. You can't breathe too fast. You can't walk too fast. You can't do anything or they void your policy. So in summary, it's probably not safe depending on arm casts or foot casts or the boot as well. And same kind of thing, even if you took off the boot, what if you got in an accident and they find it sitting in your driver's seat? It could default your insurance policy, or you could be said that you weren't in a good state of mind to drive. If you're wearing a boot or a cast, check out my video on the best boot tip.